It's 11:47 a.m. You haven't eaten since last night. Your stomach is quiet. Your head is sharper than it was at 9 a.m. And somewhere in the last hour, something shifted. A kind of stillness you weren't expecting. Most people would call that dangerous. Biologically, it's the opposite. Your body didn't start breaking down, it started switching gears. And the mechanism behind that switch is something most OMAD videos never actually explain. We're going to follow your body hour by hour, from the moment the last bite is swallowed to the point where one meal a day either becomes one of the smartest metabolic tools you've ever used or quietly starts working against you. And the difference comes down to something that has nothing to do with willpower. There's a specific window, somewhere between hour 12 and hour 16, where your body makes a decision most people never know is happening. We'll get to that window. But first, you need to understand what your body's actually running on right now, because most people have the wrong model entirely. Picture a building, not a campfire that needs constant feeding. A building with 3 floors of supply. The ground floor is the last meal you ate, glucose still moving through your bloodstream, insulin still doing its job. 1 floor up is the storage room. Liver glycogen, your body's short-term carbohydrate reserve, enough to keep blood sugar stable for several hours without any new food arriving. And deep in the basement, sealed, quiet, largely untouched on a normal eating day, is the reserve tank. Body fat. 1/10 of thousands of calories most people never actually access. Here's what most people assume. The body is a campfire. Stop feeding it and it starts dying. That model is wrong. Your body is a backup power system. When fresh fuel stops arriving, it doesn't shut down. It reroutes. It opens different doors in a specific sequence. And that sequence is the entire story of OMAD. Right after the meal, nothing looks dramatic. Insulin rises. Insulin is the hormone that signals cells to absorb glucose and store what's left over. Blood sugar climbs, then settles. The liver packs away glycogen. Protein from the meal gets broken into amino acids, the raw material for muscle repair and recovery. For the first few hours, OMAD looks completely ordinary. That's the first misunderstanding. People imagine OMAD starts working the second they stop eating. It doesn't. In the early hours, your body is still living off the last delivery. The ground floor is still stocked. Quick win. In the first 4 hours, your body isn't starving. It's processing. The real shift hasn't started yet, but it's already being set up. Now the tone inside the building changes. No second meal arrives. No snack resets the system. No fresh truck pulls into the loading dock. Insulin starts falling. The liver begins releasing stored glucose to keep blood sugar steady. The storage room opens. And this is where something unexpected happens to most people. They feel a light dip, and then a strange steadiness. Not panic, not shutdown, a quietness. You know that feeling around 1 p.m. when you haven't eaten since the night before, and you expect to be desperate, but instead you're just fine, slightly flat but functional, almost calm. That's not a coincidence. That's the storage room doing its job. But here's where it gets interesting, because that steadiness doesn't last forever. And what happens next is the part most people completely misread. The storage room is getting thinner. Liver glycogen doesn't vanish all at once, but the cushion is shrinking, so the body starts pulling harder from the basement. More energy now begins coming from stored fat. This is the first real metabolic pivot, and it's one reason OMAD can feel fundamentally different from spreading the same calories across 5 smaller meals. 5 meals means the body gets a fresh delivery every few hours. It never needs to go downstairs. OMAD removes that option. People in this phase often describe something they can't quite name. They don't feel freshly fueled, but they don't feel like they're falling apart either. They feel lighter, less dragged around by food, less trapped in the eat, crash cycle. What's actually happening is more precise than that. The body is changing its fuel mix. Less from the last meal, less from liver glycogen, more from stored fat in the basement. That's the switch people are chasing when they talk about OMAD. Most of them just don't know it has a name or a timeline, but that's only half the story. Now the liver begins converting fatty acids into ketones, small fuel molecules built directly from stored fat. Most OMAD videos make this sound mystical. It isn't. It's adaptation. Your body is constructing an alternate fuel stream because food has been absent long enough to make that worthwhile. It's not a crisis response, it's an upgrade. And this is the window most people never reach on a normal eating schedule. 3 meals a day, snacks between them. The body never gets far enough into the storage room to need the basement. The basement stays sealed. OMAD forces the door open. And here's what surprises almost everyone who reaches this window for the first time. Hunger first spikes, and then it backs off. That feels wrong. Until you understand what hunger actually is, most people picture hunger as a fuel gauge. Empty tank, loud signal, simple. But hunger is also a clock. Your body learns your meal timing. Ghrelin, the hormone most responsible for hunger, doesn't just respond to how empty your stomach is, it rises in anticipation of when you usually eat. That's why hunger behaves like a wave, not a straight line. It rises, gets your attention, then drops again, even if you still haven't eaten. You've felt this. You know that moment when hunger hits hard at noon, you're convinced you need food immediately. And then 20 minutes later, it's strangely quieter. You got distracted or busy, and the urgency just dissolved. That's not weakness. That's not willpower. That's timing. And this is the aha moment of OMAD. 1 meal a day doesn't just test your hunger. It teaches you that hunger is rhythmic, not constant. It's a signal with a schedule, not an emergency. Once you experience that a few times, your relationship with hunger changes permanently. You stop feeling trapped by it. You start watching it, but once hunger gets quieter, most people think the hard part is over. Biologically, it isn't, because now the meal has an enormous job. It has to refill liver glycogen, deliver total energy, provide enough protein for muscle retention and recovery, supply fiber, micronutrients, and enough real nutrition to carry the body through the next long gap. This is the point where OMAD stops being a fasting strategy and becomes a nutrition strategy. The fasting window is just the setup. The meal is the actual lever. A weak meal makes OMAD feel harsh. Cold hands, flat workouts, a short fuse, sleep that starts slipping, a body that's losing weight but feels strangely off. A strong meal makes OMAD feel surprisingly effective. Same fasting window, completely different outcome. The variable isn't the hours, it's what's on the plate. Most people hear 1 meal a day and think it means freedom. Eat whatever you want, just once. That's exactly where the system breaks. A giant ultra-processed meal can deliver calories, salt, sugar, and a massive reward hit while still failing where it matters most. Protein too low, fiber too low, micronutrients missing, recovery underpowered. That's how someone can lose weight on OMAD and still feel like something is wrong. The method isn't broken. The meal was never built to carry the system. The real advantage of OMAD isn't just the fasting window. It's what happens when that one meal becomes unusually good. High-quality protein, minimally processed foods, fiber-rich carbohydrates, healthy fats, real nutrient density. Food that gives the body something useful to work with tomorrow, not just a reward hit tonight. Then the whole method changes character. The basement gets accessed, the fuel mix shifts, fat loss moves, and the body stays stable, recovered, and functional, not depleted. Now add one more variable, because even a perfect meal can land badly depending on when it arrives. A meal at 2 p.m. is not running the same experiment as a meal at 10 p.m. The body has a circadian rhythm, a daily biological clock that affects how it processes the same calories at different times of day. Same food, same quantity, different biology. So here's what OMAD actually is, stripped down to its mechanism. The ground floor stays empty longer, the storage room gets used, and the body is forced to go downstairs, to pull from the reserve tank most people never open. That's the shift that matters. Not discipline, not restriction, a longer window where the body has to close the gap from its own reserves. But that window only becomes an advantage when the meal at the end is real. Enough protein to protect what you've built, enough fiber to steady what comes next, enough actual nourishment to keep the system running clean. Without that, the window opens, but nothing useful comes through it. 1 meal a day is only as smart as what's on the plate.